for prescription assistance on the road to helping you.
Melva Covington is the manager of U.S. Outcomes and Research. Ms. Covington, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
As I was talking earlier with you, I said we have something in common, looking at all the plethora of degrees you have. I majored in political science at Hampton University. I think that's the only thing, that's at the beginning, your bachelor's. So can you tell me how important is education to you, and how did you navigate getting all of those degrees?
I think that education is critical. It's critical to understanding not only what's going on in the environment, but I think it's very important in understanding yourself and what you might do. So my undergraduate degree is in politics and economics from Catholic University. I have a master's of public health from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. My PhD is also from Chapel Hill. And then finally, 4 years ago, I got an MBA from Cornell. So I just really did all of it at the same time. But I think that, to your point, there were a number of things in life that I was very interested in doing. And so I wanted to make sure that in anything that I do, I am fully aware and fully knowledgeable and have as much education as possible in order to get there. So I wanted to make sure that that was in place first and early, so that I could spend more of my time, once I got those things, really focusing on things that are important to me. So education is important, but I also think that the experience that you have with people once you're educated, and once you're influencing, and once you're in an environment, an open environment, and a corporate environment, and even a community environment, are really important.
Can you tell me what specific responsibilities you have as being the manager over research?
I have a very interesting job, and I like it a lot. My manager responsibilities at Lilly really involve the entire endocrine organization. So all of the diabetes compounds in the U.S., all of the obesity compounds, and even metabolic syndrome, they fall in my shop under outcomes research. So I have 3 managers who work directly with me, and then I have a team of people who also work directly with me. So some of the things that we do would be to really understand how to price, or how to cost effectiveness associated with outcomes. So we do a lot of work in terms of the economics. We do work in terms of understanding patient-reported outcomes. So how do you feel when you take a medication? We do a lot of community-based work relative to program evaluation. So the things that relate to understanding the value that our diabetes compounds brings to the market is the responsibility of my shop.
How important is diversity as it comes into the field of science?
I think it's critical in life. So it's an interesting question, because we're in medicine. And when you are in medicine, there are a variety of things that you deal with. You deal with your doctor, you deal with your medicine, you deal with understanding how to use that once you're at home. So I think that really understanding the diverse nature of things is very important. So in medicine, I think is very important, because you're dealing with a lot of disciplines. You're dealing with a lot of doctors, potentially you're dealing with healthcare providers, you're dealing with your family. So the diversity of information and the diversity of knowledge, I think, is quite critical. Inside of the organization at Lilly is quite critical as well. So for example, as we think about our chronic diseases, as we think about, for example, diabetes, as we think about cancer and oncology, that impacts a population that's quite diverse. So the degree to which we not only understand those populations, but can understand the research associated with what's needed is absolutely critical. So that's really important. But in another sense, there is a lot of diverse teams, if I will. There are a number of cross-functional teams, or teams that are just in very different disciplines, if you will. So diversity is important just in understanding how to interact with people, because you're often in conversations and on teams with people who have different backgrounds. So the extent to which you can not only effectively work with those teams, but be able to communicate what you're doing in a way that makes sense, if you will, is critically important.
Can you tell me, what advice can you give to like some up-and-coming females in our community, how to figure out what they want to pursue in life?
Well, I think that whether you're a female or whether you're a male or whether you're anyone, I think that one of the most crucial things that I would advise is to first be very prepared. Without preparation, you have nothing. So once you not only know what you want to do, have gone with full gusto, if you will, to make sure that you have the right credentials, once you are able to really apply the knowledge that's associated with what you do well in any field, that's fundamental. Once you have the fundamental basics of knowledge and information, you then go to the next step. The second thing I would say is to have passion, because without passion, you don't have anything. Not really. So to have the passion associated with doing something that you really want to do and that you do well gives you the additional momentum to just keep going. And also, I think it's infectious, because when you're passionate about something, you excite and you enthuse other people around you as well. So that's important. Now, the other thing that I would say relative to a person of color or a woman or anyone, but particularly a person of color and a female, is that establish a network around you of mentors and advisors and people who you trust. Because many times, information, especially in a corporate environment, comes at you so quickly that you need time and you need opportunity to understand your environment. So I think that the ability to have mentors who you can go to say, I just experienced X, okay? I'm not used to that, or I don't know what it means. Can you help me to interpret this? Am I negotiating this right? Am I thinking about this in a way that's beneficial? So to have a good network of people, it could be people who are over you, around you, under you, it doesn't make a difference, but just to make sure that you have a mechanism in place in which once you have a conversation with someone, you can think about it for yourself and apply that knowledge. And I think the final thing that I would say is, especially for women, is it's very interesting, because women are socialized in a very different way than men. And so when you're in a corporate environment, there are times in which you really have to think about your social style, how you communicate, what's going on relative to the communication that you may see, especially, for example, as a woman. If I go into a meeting and let's say the whole meeting is full of men, there may be a dynamic that's going on that I may not be used to or I may not understand, or it just may be different. And so I think that the ability to understand who you are and to know that that's okay, to understand who the other players are, and to know that that's okay, and then be able to really interface in a way that you can relate to what's being said and what's being discussed, but also at the same time, you have to keep your own integrity. I think that's important.
Can you speak to, I know we all have those rough days. What made you have the ability to overcome some of the worst days of your lives?
God. The cornerstone of who I am, and my ability to know that regardless of what situation I find myself in, I have a relationship with my higher power, or the God that helps me to understand an environment. So I think that by understanding that I have core ethics and core values in any situation, I can then work to understand how to get through something that I'm facing and something that I'm challenged with. I think it's a good question, because what I've found is that when I'm in a situation in which I really don't know what to do, the first thing that I do is I stop and I meditate on it and I think about it. And then once I've gone through that process, I then think about what resources are there that I can use right away. How can I manage through the situation? Who can I contact in my network to help me to bring a resolution to a situation? And then I rely on my judgment, and then I rely on the relationship that I have with God, and I rely on the relationship that I have with people who are familiar with me, and I just trust that I'll make a good decision. It may not be the right decision at first, but that's okay, because I think that you learn through growth, and you learn through making mistakes. But I know that foundationally, if I've made a decision based on my heart of hearts and based on what I believe is the best decision, based on my ethics and my culture, then it's okay. There'll be another decision on another day.
Yes, ma'am. She is Miss Melva Covington,